here in the wild, where the heart beats free. We're crafting our dreams, just my family and me. From sunrise to sundown, we're making our way, building our legacy, day by day. Welcome to the WildHeart podcast, where passion meets.
I like singing along. What can I say? It's a little abrupt. I didn't fade it out.
Yeah, it's like just done.
Pause.
Okay.
Welcome to the WildHeart podcast. It's been a minute.
Yes.
I'm Tony.
I'm Erin.
And what's our tagline?
Where
passion meets purpose.
Yes,
I know it this
except
time.
you did. Yeah. You threw me off because you usually do it earlier. I was very confused. Just went into like, I don't know. Anyways.
I went right into the podcast.
Yeah. Kinda.
We're doing one today, opposed to not doing one, as we've been not doing them for a little.
Once.
We haven't had one for a month.
Yes, which is one.
Well.
If we do it every 2 weeks, we missed one. Because someone was working.
Yeah. Well, what? I guess this is basically our podcast. What have we been doing for the last little while?
Nothing.
Yeah, we've just been sitting at home, doing nothing.
Thank you for your patience and us getting, our lives together.
Yeah, we do appreciate you sticking through it. It's busy. The fact of the matter is that we have the goals of getting to the podcast every 2 weeks, but the reality is sometimes it doesn't work out that way. So it's just one of those situations where we do the best that we can, and sometimes that means that we miss one. Actually, one thing that I have started doing is posting these on Spotify. So we're on Spotify now. We're not just on the YouTubes. Previously, we've been just pretty much exclusively on YouTube, just because that's where we're streaming it. But now we are on Spotify. I'm throwing. The goal for that is to throw the episodes out weekly until we're cut up. So
we're cut up or caught?
Caught.
I don't want to be cut up.
Catcheted until we're catcheted up.
Well, we have some unreleased ones on the YouTubes.
Yep. So I'm kind of starting from past episodes. I'm even releasing some of the older episodes that may have been lost to time through,
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. Anyways.
Check us out on Spotify or whatever your favorite podcast if you're interested. This episode
is all about our life updates, where we've been, what we're up to, spring cleaning stuff. Rounding back into the rhythm of life.
Which is kind of funny because we're in the middle of a lot of courses. I just started up a business kind of AI course. You're in the middle of a couple.
Are we just bouncing all around? I thought we were going to go sequentially, but okay. Yeah, I'm in the middle of, still working on the herbalism stuff, but I'm also taking regenerative alchemy with Dr. Sarah Coxon. It's a somatic training, so learning all about somatic practices and different ways to work through stuff with the nervous system. It's been very, very fun. It's my second time going through it because 2 years ago, back when the little guy was not here yet, I started it, and he was born halfway through, and then, we were the first cohort, and then it just is very fitting that after a couple of years, I'm like, let's do it again.
Well, it's just like with anything, refreshers are important, right?
I don't know if I retained much after he was born.
Sleepless nights and so forth, I imagine. Kids. We love them. We have been working on our garden. I think we've planted a bunch of it. We haven't gone 100%.
Yeah.
But the seed starting is now outside. We are now climatizing.
They
you would
are
say?
hardening.
Hardening.
They've been hardening for the last couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Are they? Have they really been out there? That
Yep.
long? Okay. Yeah, we need to get them in the soil. I
Yep.
guess this weekend, eh?
That's my goal.
Maybe tomorrow, day after, something like
I
that.
don't know. We'll see.
It's a matter of going outside. I know it's hot outside. I've been outside.
It's not the hot weather. It's the does my schedule allow for time to actually go out there and plant, because you can't go out there with the 2-year-old.
Why not?
Because he
What does he do? He plays in the mud. What's the worst that can happen?
He rips out all the chamomile that I've had to replant twice already.
That's a little bit of guidance.
Okay, so little side tangent here. You know my chamomile and how tiny they are right now?
Yeah.
Itty little guys. Last year at this time, I had plants this big that were already flowering.
Yeah. Well, it's that's boys will be boys. They dig in the mud.
Oh, do not get me started on that comment. That boys will be boys. No. Nope.
We did go on an adventure though.
Uh-huh.
What was your highlight of our wetland trail?
The sneakies.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
you had a hair. You had an eyelash.
So here, let me poke your eyeball too.
No, I was just coming for your lashes. That's all. Yeah, the 2 snakes were probably 3 snakes.
Handful of
3 them.
snakes.
Yes, we had a handful. We didn't get to hold them, but they were off the path. They were my highlight.
I just realized, actually, like, I had the thought of, like, what was the highlight for me for this trail? There was this one little part where there was, like, a little, I don't know, a little green plant coming out of a rock, and it was surrounded by a stream. And I'm like, in the last few weeks, I've had this urge to make a stream or waterfall or some sort of water feature on our property. And I'm like, has that been the trigger point of, like, I want to have running water in our backyard? Like, is that it? Maybe that was it.
Someone got the hyperfixation
I very much
of the thing and then started watching video. You went out, you saw this little trickling of water, and then the algorithm of the YouTubes was like, ooh.
But, like, how does the algorithm see through my eyes? And like,
quantum computing, I don't know.
quantum computing isn't here yet.
That you know of.
That I know of. Well, I just discovered, I was just listening to a podcast about how they make it rain. So, supposedly, well, no. According to the podcast, it was real. They use
Sodium iodide.
yeah, sodium iodide. And all they need is 3 drones and they can make it rain. They send them up, like, repeatedly, and, like, 15 minutes later, rain. Anyway, fun facts.
Makes you wonder why we have droughts in some places. Okay, maybe we don't want to get there.
He actually addressed some of these questions.
Uh-huh.
Sean Ryan show, by the way, if you're curious about this podcast, John.
I don't know if I want to get into that.
But nonetheless,
Going on.
So we've planted a bunch of the garden, not all of the garden. We went on the adventure, doing a ton of spring cleaning around the house.
Too many things, too little space. Get out. Leave.
Clearing.
Clear
We're
out.
clearing. You've been doing a ton of homeschooling too, right?
Yeah.
What would you say is your, like, because you've been printing a ton of this?
Yeah, I've been essentially prepping for next year. Because next year is the year that we actually have to start reporting and doing the notification and all that stuff. So I spent an evening geeking out with ChatGPT to basically be like, what is the curriculum, like, what do we call them? Clusters, for basically all the subjects that she would need for her grade level. And
Which is when?
yeah, she's grade 1 next year. And then, this is what I have currently for curriculum, and this is my ideas for different things. How does this fit, and where am I lacking? And then it was just basically spit me out a couple of things and where we needed to bolster and all that stuff.
It's kind of like bumpers of like, hey, you might have a blind spot here. Let's look at this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like that.
So say, for example, like social studies. Social studies in grade 1 is all about like yourself, your environment, your community, and heritage. We start talking about. So, for one of the things that like identity and learning your address and your phone numbers and things like that, that's pretty easy. I can teach that, no problem. And that doesn't really require much in terms of curriculum. Things like heritage or
religion, community. I was just sorry. This is where this came from. So
sorry,
today,
did you see this face?
Did you? So
Religion.
today, I did a side job at a Buddhist temple, and the reason why this is coming up is because I had a really good conversation with our daughter about religion, and it was one of those things where like. So this, I basically took her along, and it was a really easy service call. And we had asked, like, hey, do you want to see a Buddhist temple and what it looks like? And so she said yes. I brought her along, and she kind of held my tools as I just did a few really easy tasks. And she got to observe like what this temple looks like, and so that led in the conversation. She was a little bit shy to talk to the people there, but that's okay. But on the drive home, we had a really good conversation about like what is Buddhism, what do Buddhists believe, and who was Buddha potentially, and I essentially used ChatGPT again to kind of explain it to a 5-year-old what it would mean, and it led her to ask like, oh, like why did the lady have a shaved head? Why was she wearing orange? Why? What's with all the statues of Buddha? And so, and then it led into like, oh, I've noticed she asked like what are the little, she called them plus signs, the crosses over some of the buildings. I'm like, oh, that's a different religion, they believe in this and this and this. So just having, again, from a social studies perspective, like an entire worldview of different religions community. Anyway, you could put that in your notes.
Okay, we're looking at more like community on a smaller scale, but yes, that's wonderful. I'm not going to discourage learning.
No, it was I enjoyed it. I think it's healthy to know all the different perspectives.
What I was using though was more of the sense of like, we are Métis. What kind of festivals do we have in our area that are a celebration of the Métis heritage?
Fair.
Right? Or for example, with your background of being Polish, right? What can we do? Folklorama would be a good one too, right? Yeah. Folklorama's really good, like, get out there and connect with different cultures and whatever. Anyways, but yeah, so that was fun. I don't remember where I was going with that until you took that on a side tangent quest, so yeah.
But
it's been fun.
So obviously, yeah, we're trying to incorporate it as much as we can, our homeschool life.
I'm trying to keep things fun and play based, because I know, especially with our daughter, that if you get too serious in something, she doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you'll never force a kid to learn something they don't want to, and you never stop a kid from learning something that they want to learn.
Yeah, she's not really a sit down and do workbooks type of kid, and like, I do have a couple of workbooks that we will go through in some semblance, but again, they're very fun play based activities, and it's like a page a day type of thing. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Is that we'll give reviews as we try them out, I guess. I built a shed. Have you seen the shed lately? Do you enjoy what it has become?
I have walked past the shed because I was watering the gardens today.
Okay. And what are your thoughts on the shed?
What are my thoughts? It's a shed. It expands space.
Storage?
Yes, I am scared my hose is going to get cut up from the edges.
Well, I shall correct this, I guess.
The hose has slipped under one of the corners today. I was like, oh, that's wonderful.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. But also, too, the hose is really, because the hose is so fresh and new, we had to get a new hose. The other two that we had were full of holes. So with it being a new hose, it is so kinked and like it hasn't
still stretched
in
out,
its
warmed up.
Neep. Yeah, we need warmer weather so that it can actually be like laid out flat. So
I also did a sub panel swap in the garage. Our daughter helped.
Child, yeah.
Our daughter helped. She terminated her first sub panel at 5.
If she keeps going, she'll be prodigy by 15.
Yeah. Well, she'll. Nothing wrong with that.
Hit red seal. Wonder what the youngest red seal would be.
Youngest I've heard was like 16, 17.
Yeah.
One guy I know. But yeah. What are your thoughts for what's to come? Is our two week every second week schedule still working, or should we bump it to a month, or has it just been a really busy month?
It's just been really busy because like with my regenerative alchemy, it's been like every Tuesday is the class, and then occasionally we do a Wednesday of extra stuff. And then, with planning birthdays, this, for the little guy and all that stuff, it's been extra hectic. And then also trying to, for me at least, I feel like there's a lot of stuff going on right now of me just being a ridiculous human who is type A, who's trying to get everything done so that I can kind of coast through the summer.
Okay, then. The truth comes out.
Well, it's just like the more prepared I can be now for homeschool in the fall, the less I have to worry about making deadlines by the fall.
Well, you do realize we just school all the time, right?
Yes, I know. But, like, for example, notification forms open July 1st. I already wanted to do the notification form in May. I can't do it yet, so I'm like, all right, well, I just...
You want to explain, like, I guess this is specifically our province, but, I mean, you just roughly, like, for, like, Americans who may or may not be listening, what is this?
Okay, well, from what I understand across the board in Canada, you have to notify your intent to homeschool. So each province may be different on their age. Our province, Manitoba, we just decreased the age from 7 to 6. So basically, last year, if you were 7 and older, you had to either be registered in your school of choice, or you had to be notifying your intent of homeschooling. This school year, it's lowered to 6, so we have to do that. So basically, we get in contact with the the homeschooling office, which is like, I guess the peoples of homeschooling. I don't know. And we basically
Homeschoolers Anonymous.
Not quite.
And Ghost homeschoolers.
Shush. Anyways, and we basically, like, I fill out a form that includes all the, like, details that you would have at a school, and then kind of, like, what curriculum you're going to be using, how you plan to address, basically the curriculum clusters for the grade, and how you plan to, like, meet those things. Because regardless of whether you're unschooling, schooling at home, doing Montessori, doing Waldorf, or whatever your flavor of homeschool is, you still have to relate it back to the curriculum at hand.
Prove to us that you are following what our directive is.
But there's no testing, so I don't know how they necessarily know that.
All the better.
Yeah.
All the better.
At least in our province, we don't get any funding, so no one can really say
This
what
is how you
I
must do
cannot,
it.
yeah, what I can and cannot do. Now, the homeschooling office, once you submit the forms, they may come back and say, hey, you're lacking in this area, you should try something else.
Yeah.
In which case, you can either tell them to go F themselves because they don't give you funding, so it doesn't matter, or you can just, whatever. And then twice a year, kind of similar to report cards, twice a year you have to submit reports about what you've completed or what you've worked on over that time and why or why not why you may not have hit the certain things that you had said previously. Right?
Yeah, I get that. So,
yeah, so like I guess just to
it just occurred to me, are report cards not? I guess they are to let the teachers know, the parents know how their kid's doing. But I'm like, I guess that's not their only purpose, right? So their secondary purpose is to make sure that the teachers submitting something to the school system. Anyway, it goes a whole, like, I don't, obviously, never mind.
That in and of itself is a whole nother can of worms.
I'm not going to start breaking apart the existing school system.
Because so many kids these days are being passed regardless of whether or not you've actually failed your class.
I mean,
like,
yeah.
there is, I don't know because we're not in the school system, but I have heard that it's not even it's not a pass-fail system anymore. It's just a pass, keep passing. Oh, we'll just bring in more help later on. It's fine. So even if you get into school and you don't understand something, you're still going to get passed along regardless because you can't fail kids anymore.
Either way, this isn't beat up on the school system existing, I guess.
Are you sure? I feel like that's something that I want to do.
Next episode.
Next episode, Erin rails the school system.
Yeah, the other thing just because we slowed down for the last month, it doesn't mean we're stopping. I would say, I would agree with you in terms of it's been a busy month. And yeah, we'll be back at her. Again, goal is every second week, on the Wednesday specifically, evenings after the kids go to bed.
Yeah.
The time
Usually
schedule.
the 9:30, 10 o'clock start.
Yeah. So, if you want to join us live, feel free to join us.
Yeah.
If you have anything that you've been up to that you wanted to share, let us know in the comments. If you have any questions for us, let us know in the comments. Honestly...
Let us know in the comments. Just everything. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, no, hit us up.
Hit us up.
And...
Hit us up.
Hit us up.
Oh, hit us up. Hit us up. Like, what?
Am I speaking English?
I don't know. Sometimes I question your abilities.
My English is good.
Yes. I mean, you do have a second language. That may or may not be English.
Yeah.
Anyways.
On that note, do all the follow, subscribe, share, if this episode resonates or if you're enjoying our content. What's your social media?
WildHeart Motherhood. If you are local to Manitoba, you can also hit me up at WildHeart Reiki.
Okay. And I'm WildHeart Legacy.
Was it? Yeah, it was WildHeart Reiki. I was like, wait a second. Yeah, because I guess that's another thing too, as I've been doing Reiki sessions.
Yeah.
Locally for people in the locus of the space.
You're freeing the locusts.
Yes, I'm freeing the locusts. I have started a plague of locusts. I'm sorry.
Easy. But thanks again. We will see you in 2 weeks. Feel free.
We won't see them. They will see us.
We will see you. How? It doesn't say. It doesn't sound right to. You will listen to us. You will listen to us. No. That's
We'll
a
be
figure of
back
speech.
in 2 weeks.
That's a better way of saying it. Thanks. See you later.